Bro, who even is CM Punk?
Okay, this is a long one. So, in the year, I think it was 1999 or 2000, Phil Brooks starts wrestling on the Illinois independent scene. He started out in Chicago, right? Famously from Chicago. He started off in a tag team that was him, CM Punk, and I don't remember the name, it was CM something, the other guy. And they were pretty big just going through the early independent scene, early 2000s, when WWF was still big, WCW was still around, ECW was in its dying days, but there were still a couple big organizations around. WCW and ECW closed, and in response to that, Ring of Honor opens up. That was in 2002, and Ring of Honor is meant to be like pro wrestling, how it was like traditionally, like people shake hands, it's very much about respect, and CM Punk shows up there, has a bunch of really good matches. Later on in his career, when he's like world champion, stuff like that, in there like the 2005 time period, he had some legendary matches with Samoa Joe, who's still around today. But, so long story short, he was in TNA, he was in this guy, Raven's stable, he was like a famous wrestler in the 90s, and then he left TNA because there was a whole deal between them and Ring of Honor that broke through, and so then Punk was a Ring of Honor champion for a pretty long time, very, very, like, well-renowned, but then he signed to WWE in late 2005, early 2006, and he famously signed his WWE contract, something that was very, very interestingly later mimicked by who's now Seth Rollins in Ring of Honor too, signing the WWE contract on the Ring of Honor title, and he had a little heel run based off of that he was leaving, and then he went to WWE. He started out in ECW, which is kind of like, it was based off of Extreme ECW, but it was very not extreme. It was like the WWE B leagues. CM Punk was there. He was very popular. He had a feud with Mike Knox, who nobody remembers, and then he had some other feuds, whatever. He was supposed to have one with Chris Benoit, the one that we don't talk about because that was the guy who did the really bad thing, and he did it with John Morrison instead, won the ECW World title, and then he ended up on SmackDown. He had a weird tag team with Kofi Kingston, won the Intercontinental Championship, and he won the World Heavyweight title, and sometime in this period, he also won the Money in the Bank contract twice, which means he could cash in this contract at any time to pin somebody for the title. He took one from Jeff Hardy and one from, I don't remember who the other one was. But so he was world champion a couple times, but kind of still not a huge star. Undertaker embarrassed him in a Hell in a Cell match, and he was kind of treated like crap. CM Punk kicked him in the face once, and he just like vacated the title. But, so not super good, and he always wanted to main event WrestleMania, but he never did. So, first had this straight edge character. He ended up leading this group called NXT, which was a bunch of young guys, or Nexus, and that was kind of weird. Then he had a feud, they lost it at WrestleMania to Randy Orton, but then he began to basically, but then phase out of that into this character that just like talks how things really are. He dropped what you call pipe bombs, which he would just, instead of it being scripted, because wrestling promos are usually scripted in WWE, he would just go off the cuff and say stuff that you weren't supposed to say, mentioning guys like Colt Cabana and Ring of Honor. WWE doesn't mention outside of WWE, that's their thing. And so basically the whole thing was his contract was running out, and he was set to face John Cena at Money in the Bank, who's coming out right now. You cannot see him though. And so the story was this: John Cena has the title, he's fighting CM Punk. If CM Punk wins, he's leaving with the title. If John Cena wins, whatever. But if John Cena loses, he's supposed to be fired. That's what the story is for this match. And CM Punk won this match, left for 2 weeks, which was kind of disappointing with the title. Came back, lost it to Alberto Del Rio for some weird reason, who we don't talk about either. He's also controversial. And eventually, he captured the WWE title again and had a really long reign, something like 400 days, the longest in the modern era, until Roman Reigns has held it for like infinite years. Okay, so now we're at modern times, or 2014. Rock comes back and he gets the title from CM Punk at Royal Rumble. He didn't main event WrestleMania the previous year, even though he's world champion against Chris Jericho, because that was Rock vs. Cena. Now it's Rock vs. Cena again, and he's again not going to be in the main event. He got really frustrated and basically walked out of WWE in 2014. From there, he badmouthed WWE, sued some of their doctors, really, really bad stuff, horrible relationship with the company, and eventually he tried a UFC career, lost. I remember he had a pretty bad loss to Mickey Gould, not successful at all, and then he was a sportscaster somehow for Fox, but it was about WWE, but he didn't work with WWE, which was a big thing. But the whole thing is that famously very against WWE. Then there's this company, AEW, which I talked about in my last video. I'm not going to go through that again. AEW started main rival of WWE, really only prominent one besides TNA a little bit, but mostly WCW in the 90s. And so CM Punk came back. It was like the hugest thing in wrestling because nobody thought he was ever going to come back. He was vocally like, never again, retired, done. He came back, he had some cool feuds in AEW. MJF, he had a fight with Adam Page, and Adam Page, like legitimately, and Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson. We don't talk about that. Tony Khan did not handle it great. CM Punk left after getting fired for an incident at All In England with Jungle Boy's whole thing, whatever. So then people thought, is he done again? Is he going back to WWE? This, that, whatever. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Then he comes back at Survivor Series. And Seth Rollins might actually be mad. It might be a work. I don't know. But yeah, very controversial figure. Known as being, throughout his career, pretty hard to work with and pretty toxic in the workplace. I mean, if everybody around you is wrong and you're right, then I don't know. That being said, that is CM Punk Explained. And like and follow for more.